I'm Wanda. I am a yoga instructor here at the Rec Center at Cane Creek. This class will be a Yin class. I also teach a Vinyasa flow class. But this is a slow class. This is a class to become centered into the body and open up the connective tissues of the body. You'll need a block for a prop, and if you're at home and don't have a block, feel free to use a book or a pillow, just something to have to prop yourself on, just to support the body so that you can totally relax. I've chosen not to play music in this video so that it doesn't cause a conflict. So my suggestion now is just to turn on some soft music. I kind of like Tibetan chimes or the sound of the ocean for Yin Yoga, but just something that's soothing to your soul. So we're going to begin today in a meditation. So let's find our favorite cross-legged position where you can sit in a chair. I recommend sitting on a block to help elevate the hips so that we can sit tall easier, so that the legs fall apart easier. Let's all take a big inhale in, really fill the lungs up, expand the body. Now let's take that nice, slow, soft exhale and feel the softness of the body. Another big inhale as we breathe in life force. And feel the exhale soften. Let's take it down completely empty in the lungs. Another big inhale as we expand the chest, expand the body. And now let's take that nice slow exhale as we gently close our eyes and return to our normal breath. Let's make sure that the lips are sealed gently upon each other. Just keep the eyes gently closed, not a pressing, just a gentle closure of the eyelids. And we find our normal breath. We bring our attention to normal breath. So let's just notice again how when we inhale, the body slightly raises up, and when we exhale, we soften a bit. This happens to us every minute of our lives. We're just not aware of it. Let's gently inhale again. And slowly, gently exhale and continue in that motion. Let's bring our awareness to what we feel at this moment. We're living in very uncertain times. So let's just check in and notice what the body is experiencing this moment, what your emotions are. Perhaps you feel tightness, stress. Perhaps you feel fear, anger. Perhaps you feel like the opposite of everything I just described. Let's just take this time to really connect to our internal being and notice what's happening within as we continue following that soft, rhythmic breath. Let's spend just a couple of moments here. Just notice when we take the time to bring our attention inward, how with the repetition of our breath that we start to really calm down. And this is such a gift, again, in these uncertain times that we're experiencing right now, just to find that spot within, that quietness, the silent part of ourselves, the peaceful part of ourselves. It's always with us. We just have to tap into that. Continuing with your breath, as I said earlier, Yin Yoga is about opening the connective tissues of the body, opening the energy channels of the body so that we can live more fully, knocking down all blockages within the body with time and with practice. For the next hour, we're going to begin some pretty awkward positions, but when we get there, we find that spot that we have sensation. And then we just return to the breath with closed eyes and allow the sensation to be, exploring that sensation, and just allow the body to open 1 millimeter at a time. It'll be very slight at first. With practice, the results can be unbelievable. Please always note that if you experience pain, tingling, numbness, burning, sensations like electricity, you have gone too far and it is time to either come out or to back off. You can hurt yourself in Yin Yoga. You can overstretch these tissues before they are ready. So even though we want to open the body, create flexibility, create open channels in the body, these tissues we target can be overstretched and we lose stability, and stability in the body just as important. So let's carry that thought with us in the back of our mind as we come into our first position. So if you're sitting on a block or a book, let's remove that and have that available to us at this point and come into a tabletop position. So the knees are going to come underneath the hips, the wrists are underneath the shoulders. Now we're going to take the knees back, a couple of 3 inches. We're going to begin this class with a little bit of spinal flossing. So the toes are under, and we're going to push the hips back to the heels, and the head comes up. And then we inhale as we come forward over the wrist and let the head drop down. Let's let the hips drop. Let's find a parallel torso. Exhaling back, the head rises, pushing back. And now let's exhale as we drop the head, find the length of the body. Inhaling back as we push back, the head comes up. Exhaling, the head comes down, find that long body. Pushing back, head up. Let's find the hips coming closer to the heels if that's possible. Coming forward, dropping the head. And one more round as we push the hips back deeply. Bring the head up. Slowly coming forward, wrist over shoulders as we drop the head. Let's come onto the top of our feet now and gently take the hips back to the heels. Let your hands drag on your mat to create just a little bit of traction in the shoulders. And let's take the head down to our mat or perhaps a block. And let's just let the back lengthen. We're just going to be here for a few breaths. Coming back up into our tabletop. taking the toes under. We're going to gently push the hips up, push them back, the knees are bent, and find yet just a little bit more length along the spine. Open the hips up, open the shoulders. Let's place the shoulder blades into the back. Let's bring the elbows in toward each other. Let's allow the head to be so heavy here. Knees are deeply bent. Now let's look at our hands as we very quietly step forward. The feet are going to come underneath our hips. You can have your blocks available to put your hands on. If the hips are open enough, you can come forward, or you can grab opposite elbows. We're going to go into a little flow of standing forward bend and our yogi squat. So let's just find whatever position works best for you now. The knees can be as bent as you need them to be, and we're just going to be here initially for 1 minute. So let's all take that big inhale in, and let's completely let the upper body fall down towards the thighs. Let the head be so heavy. Allow the shoulders to fall forward as we bring our awareness back to that gentle rhythmic breath. Perhaps closing the eyes, blocking out the external world, keeping our awareness of what's happening inside of our bodies. Notice where you feel this. Is it in your hips? Perhaps your hamstrings, along the spine. Maybe there's tightness in the shoulders. Let's just gently allow the body to go to whatever depth that it goes today. We're in no race to be anywhere. So place a little bit more weight onto our hands. Let's take our toes out and have our blocks available. The heels are in. So we're going to drop the hips down and allow them to sink down. Now the heels may meet the mat, they may not. If they do not, you could roll a towel up and place the towel underneath your heels to provide the support so that you can relax into the body. Again, we're going to be here for 1 minute. If this is hard on the knees, you can take a block and simply sit on the block or the book. Whatever works for you. Again, please remember, we look for sensation and not pain. Again, we're going to be here for 1 minute in the yogi squat. So rather than have the elbows into the knees, we're going to allow the shoulders to fall down between the knees. Allow the head to become so very heavy. Let's take the weight back on a little bit more toward our heels to add a little bit, an added dimension of length in the back. Let's allow the legs to become so soft once we establish our position here. We're going to be here for 1 minute. So let's close our eyes and bring our attention inward, allowing what is ever happening to happen. At any time, if you feel the posture is becoming overwhelming to you, please come out. Please do not push it. In Yin Yoga, we simply allow. So bringing our hands to mat, rolling onto our hands. Let's lengthen the legs. Let's bring the toes back toward the front of the mat as we gently fall forward again into the standing forward bend. Now, most of you who come to my class know that I recommend doing a yogi squat daily. This helps to lengthen the back, open the hips, and keep our knees in very healthy working order. Same is true with the standing forward bend that we are doing right now. Simply by spending some breath daily in this position, We have to decompress the spine. We have to lengthen the spine. We have to calm our nervous system. So again, going back to that breath, letting go entirely. Just practice letting go. Now placing weight more onto the hands. Again, the toes are going to come out, finding the comfortable stance, and allow those hips to drop down as we roll on the weight to the closer to the heel. And again, the shoulders are going to fall to the knees. The head is going to drop as we shut our eyes and bring our awareness into the sensations of the body. The back of the neck becomes so very long. Let's notice if we have any gripping, any tightness, allowing the body to become so very supple here as we breathe gently and allow. Weight comes forward onto the hands, lengthen to the back of the legs. Bring the toes back forward toward the front of the mat. Hinge at the hips, using the block as support if you need to. Hands to palm or grab opposite elbows, whatever feels the best to you. Completely letting go. You might notice here that the chest is a little bit closer to the thighs than the first standing forward bend we did. Lengthening the back, lengthening the hamstrings, opening the hips, soothing the central nervous system. And all we have to do is just hang out here for a few breaths. Again, the hands come to mat as we take the toes out, finding the stance that is comfortable for us, allowing those hips to drop. Let's take the shoulders into the inside of the knees. The head hangs heavily as we return to that soft, gentle, yielding breath. For the last time, we're going to roll over. Our palms come to mat. Lengthen the legs. Let's bring the toes back to the front of the mat. One more standing forward bend. Hinge at the hips. Let's think about the back getting long. The head is so heavy. Shoulders are falling forward. As we close our eyes again, blocking out the external world. All there is right now is you and your mat, the sensations in your body. Gently breathing.
Now we're going to place our weight on our hands and very slowly step one foot back, the other foot comes back, and let's just find ourselves in a very modified down dog. Let's just paddle our heels and our hips from one side to the other, just bringing an element of fluidity into our practice. Let those hips have some circulation back into them. Bringing the heels down as far as feels good, opening the sides of the body up, swinging the hips from side to side. Now coming down to our knees and our hands are right underneath our shoulders again. We're going to walk the knees back a couple of inches, walking the hands forward and having our blocks available. Now keeping the hips right over the knees, we're going to bend the elbows, and maybe you only come down to the elbows. But let's just allow the heart to fall down toward the mat. Maybe perhaps you would like to use your block to prop the head on. This is opening up the middle back. This pose is called the melting heart. Similar to what we did earlier in the child's pose when we had our hips all the way back to our heels. But this time we're going to keep the hips floating. Now if you'd like to go further in this posture, you can bring the side of the face down to the mat and just simply extend the arms overhead, or perhaps use the arms as a pillow. Gently breathing. Remember how the body softens on the exhale. Let's really put an emphasis on softening the body as we let go of the negative sensations of the body through the breath. If you become tired of being on one side of the face, simply adjust your stance and fall to the other side or the forehead. You can deepen the pose by coming down onto your chin. But if you have any neck problems whatsoever, I strongly advise you against that position, but you might like to try it for a breath or two. And gently we breathe. We've got about 20 more seconds. We're holding this posture for 3 minutes. Let's really check ourselves for the last few breaths. Are we truly letting go of any muscular effort here? Is the heart falling forward? Is the back relaxed? And the middle back falling forward as well? Now gently bring in our weight, shoulders over our elbows. We're going to let the torso fall down to the mat. Again, working on a gentle back bend. And we're going to go into the Sphinx, having your blocks or your book available. So to begin with, let's simply bring our awareness to our legs. So let's just let them completely relax and fall open. Let's soften the pelvic area, soften our belly as we just allow this
opening to the front of our spine. Now the head can hang down, the head can be up. It might feel better for the head to be up at this time. We've been in a forward bend for quite a while. Now let's just let the back softly relax into this back bend. Now if you're not feeling a lot in the lumbar spine, you might try just simply bending your knees, allowing the legs to be soft again. This helps to deepen the curve in the lumbar spine as we gently breathe. To deepen the posture even further, you can bring your elbows up onto a block or your book. Legs up or legs down. And really notice what's happening in the spine. For most of us, our spines can really lose flexibility due to our lifestyles of sitting so much. By doing this back bend, we have to open the front of the spine. We give our internal organs the space that they need to function properly. Back bends are also very energizing to the body, very enlivening to the body. If you'd like to go further yet, you can come off your blocks, bring the palms of the hands to the mat, lengthen the arms to whatever degree, remembering to keep the muscles soft. We need no help from our muscles after we once enter into our posture. We've got about 30 more seconds left. Perhaps you would like to experiment with a deeper one. Perhaps it's time to go to an easier variation of this posture. You know your body, you know what you're experiencing. Please be wise. The breath is a good indicator. If you've gone too far, it will become soft, it'll become short and choppy. Let's work, let's have our intention on a nice, smooth, gentle breath. So we want to come back down to the elbows if you are on the hands. And now we want to make a pillow out of our arms, rest our head, and let's bring this left knee up beside us just as far as we can and completely relax into this counterpose, allowing the back to lengthen on the left side. Completely softening, allow the back to completely let go of any tension we may have created in the Sphinx. Now let's gently take the left leg down to meet the right. And gently bring the right leg up, the right knee to whatever degree feels good. And let's just lay back down. Completely let go. Feel the body soften. Feel the back lengthen. And return into that nice gentle breath. One more breath. As we take the right leg to meet the left, let's bring our hands under shoulders and very slowly, the back may still be somewhat tender. Let's come into our tabletop position. Bringing the knees back underneath the hips. And let's slowly let those hips again fall toward the heels as we lower the chest down over the thighs. Forehead comes to the mat or a block. Notice what your back is experiencing. Take a big inhale and let's totally let go, deepening the child's pose as we exhale.
So slowly come back up into our tabletop position, shoulders over wrists, knees under hips. And let's just do some circles with our hips again. As before, just bringing an element of fluidity back into the hips, back into the lumbar spine. Making it soft, making it gentle. The circles can be as big or as small. That feels good to you. The next time you come to the back, let's reverse the order of our hip circles. And then this last movement, let's come back to our tabletop position. Taking the right hand in about a couple of inches here. And again, let's have a block or your book available. Now we're going to pick up the right foot and we're going to bring it forward to the outside of the right hand. Now taking the toes of the left foot, we're going to gently pull that left knee back. Our first posture is going to be the flying dragon. So we're going to take the toes out, put the weight on left hand or perhaps left hand on the block. Your choice, as always. So bringing that shoulder over that left wrist. We're going to take the right hand into the inside of the right knee. And we're going to take the right shoulder toward the ceiling as we gently press that knee slowly toward the right wall. Now we're only going to be here for 1 minute. So let's find a focus point on that right wall or gently close our eyes. And again, the awareness is always inside what you are feeling. A gentle reminder, if it's pain, you've gone too far, please back out or come out completely. Gently bringing the right hand back down to the mat. Let's bring our toes back to the front of the mat. And we're going to start walking our hands out in front of us. Now this might be just the perfect spot for you to stop. Let's allow the front of the left hip to dip down toward the mat. And just notice the sensations that you're experiencing right now. To go further, you could bring your elbows down to a block and notice what you experience here. Now, dragon can be a very intense posture. So find that place where we can simmer in a lot of sensation, not to the point of pain, knowing that this too will end. You will come out of the posture. To go in even deeper, you could remove your block and bring your elbows down to the mat, drop the head, and totally let go the weight through the hips. Let the muscles let go of their need to support the body. And gently breathe. This is one of the best hip openers in all of yoga. Now we're going to gently bring the hands one at a time back under the shoulders. Let's pause here for just a breath. And let's again, notice where that left front hip is. Let's let it continue to drop toward the mat for just a brief moment here. Taking in the breath. Now moving right hand to the outside of right foot, we're going to start heel toeing that right foot over toward the left side of the mat. Now there's two variations of what we're about to do. We're either going to do the swan or the deer. I want to demonstrate the deer first. If we go into the version of the deer, that right hip comes all the way down to the mat and we come onto the inside of left knee. The higher the shin up, the more opening in the hip, but also more tension in the knee. So if you experience anything in the knee, let's gently pull that foot back toward the groin. Now we're going to do a forward bend here. So you could try the forward bend now. If you don't have a lot of sensation, you could roll on to the top of left leg. So for a lot of you, you will feel that right hip floating over the mat. So what you can do to help support that hip so that you can relax into the posture is simply place a block underneath that right hip. So whatever variation you have chosen, you can stay up like this, or you can start walking your hands out, coming down to elbows on the block is a good position for a lot of people. Just noticing what you're feeling. Perhaps the elbows again would like to come down to the mat. And perhaps you'd like to go yet deeper in the posture and bring the arms out in front of you. Use the arms as a pillow or let the forehead come down to the mat. Now when we're in some of these intense hip openers, the dragon that we just did and the swan or the deer that we're doing right now, our muscles really want to tighten up and help support the body. It's just a natural reaction of the muscles to try to support the connective tissues of the body. So we consciously do a body scan just to notice if we have any tightness or gripping in this posture. And when we find that, if we find that, you can just take your breath to it, just be aware of it and watch it melt away. Often when that gripping or tightness disappears, we feel even more sensation in the hips. So again, please being aware of the difference between sensation and pain. Pain, we back out. Sensation, we simmer. As we breathe gently into the posture. We've got about 30 more seconds left here. You always have the option of backing out of the posture or coming out of the posture completely. So the hands come under shoulders as we gently press ourselves up. Let's pause here for just a breath. And let's just take the head toward the ceiling. Maybe the chin comes up with it. Just a slight back bend, just to kind of counteract the forward bend. So let's bring our palms down to the mat. As we take the left toes under, picking up the left knee, and just gently pull that right leg, that right knee back underneath the hip. The left knee comes underneath the hip. And again, let's do some hip circles. And really notice the difference in the two sides of the body right now. That right hip is so much more open right now. And let's go to the other side. Let's take our toes under, pick the hips up, push back and lengthen the legs to whatever degree, just to allow the knees to have a bit of retrieval here, just some length if they need that. Pedaling the heels if you need that. So shoulders over wrists, knees come down to the mat as we take the left hand more to the center of the mat, picking up our left foot and let's take it to the outside of left hand. The toes are under, we're going to pull right knee back till we feel some length happening along the right front of our hips. So let's have right hand under shoulder on the block or on the mat as we take left toes out. The knee is going to fall open as we take the left hand into the inside, excuse me, left knee. The left shoulder comes toward the ceiling, a gentle twist here as we gently press that left knee away. 1 minute here. The hips are falling forward. We're completely letting go of any control of this posture. We enter the position and then we let go. And we breathe. So as we look for the resistance in the body, let's also bring our awareness to looking for resistance in the mind. Let's notice what our thoughts are about this posture or about the practice altogether. So let's bring that left toes forward as we walk the hands forward on the mat. Now again, perfectly okay to stay right here. We're letting both sides of the hips dip down. Another variation of the posture, again, is to bring the elbows down onto a block. The head can fall forward. You can extend to the crown of the head, whatever feels best to you right now. And to go yet deeper, we remove our block. Slowly, mindfully, bring the body down onto both elbows. A gentle reminder here, this is an intense posture. And hopefully you are really feeling a lot of sensation. So we let the back soften. We let the hips fall forward. We let that left hip bend as deeply as it needs to go right now. So again, the mind, the ego, may be absolutely screaming at you that it does not like this position. Or perhaps the ego, the mind, is telling you that there's another way to do this which is much better. That is the tendency of our egos. Let's just gently remind ourselves that these postures are timeless, have been developed over thousands of years. So let's drop the thought, drop the ego, enter into the posture, and bring our full awareness to our breath. There's nothing now other than you on your mat, feeling sensation, breathing gently. So let's bring one hand under the shoulder. The other hand comes under as we take right toes under. Let's take the right hand under to the left hand to the outside of left foot as we heel toe that foot over to the right side of the mat. And coming down to one of the two variations that we practiced before. One being coming all the way down onto left hip, coming into the inside of left knee, which is the deer. A little bit tougher variation, again, is rolling onto the top of right knee, right leg, reminding ourselves of what we are experiencing in our left knee. And perhaps we would like to travel down now. Perhaps we would like to bring our elbows down onto the block. Let's try that first. You'll notice that for most people, the left and the right sides are a lot of difference for a lot of people. So you may be experiencing not quite as much space as you did on the right side. Again, quite normal. So this may be the perfect place for you to go today. Just because you did it on one side does not mean you have to do it on the other side. We honor what is happening in our bodies right now. We honor where we are, and we don't push that. Again, to go further, we could use our arms as a pillow and just let the forehead drop down to the arms. Or we could just extend our arms out in front of us and bring the forehead down to the mat. I forgot to tell you that if the hip is floating and the body is not able to completely relax, you can always add that support to the outside of left hip. So let's bring our awareness back into what I just spoke of, the activity of the mind right now. What is the mind saying to you about this posture? And let's notice that so often the mind is screaming in terms of fear or resistance, not only in our postures, but in our daily lives. So sometimes just simply by becoming aware of the activity of the mind, and letting those thoughts go or letting those thoughts soften, the body will follow in letting go or softening. It's the power of the mind-body connection. The body follows what the mind says. If the mind is in resistance, then so will be the body. If the mind is in turmoil, then so will be the body. If the mind is soft and relaxed, and so will the body. It takes practice to realize this, however. So the hands come underneath the shoulders as we gently press ourselves up. Let's reach to the crown of the head, just briefly opening up the heart, pressing through the hands, finding just a counter movement from the forward bend. And if that left hip is on a block, let's remove that block and just let that left hip come down to the mat. Notice what your hips are experiencing. Let's take the right knee in our hand and gently bring it forward. Notice what the right hip is experiencing. Now we're going to come back onto our hips. Let's take our feet about mat width apart, bringing the hands about a foot behind us. Fingers are toward the hips. And let's just do some windshield wipers with our knees gently falling from one side to the other.
lingering as long as you like to stay in whatever position, making them as big or as small as feels good to you at this moment. Now the next time the knees fall to the right, we're going to walk the hands behind us. And let's just try to place the fingertips toward the front of the back of the mat now, and square the shoulders toward the back of the mat. I hope you can hear me. So you can either stay here, or again, gently let yourself down onto a block or onto the mat. We're going to spend about 5 breaths here. So let's bring our hands back under shoulders. Walk the front of the torso back to the front of the mat. Come onto the soles of the feet again. Place the hands behind us, fingers pointing forward. And again, let's just do some windshield wipers with the knees. So the next time the knees fall to the left side, let's pause there. Let's take the right hand over to the left side and gently walk our hands toward the back of our mat, shoulders toward the back of our mat. Let the legs soften completely. Feel the twist in the torso. Either stay in here or coming down to elbows, or bringing the forehead all the way down to the mat. Again, we're going to be here for 5 minutes. Sorry, 5 breaths. Bring your hands back under our shoulders as we walk the front body back toward the front of the mat. Now in yoga, we usually end a class in Shavasana, which is simply lying on your back, practicing complete relaxation, and you're welcome to go there if you choose. Right now, I would like to offer yet another short meditation. So I'd like for you to come back into whatever simple seated position works best for you. It might just be Sukhasana, changing the cross of our legs from the beginning of the class. Perhaps you would like to go to a lotus position or half lotus. So let's gently place our palms on our knees. Let's flip the palms up and bring the index finger and the thumb together. Let's find the length of the spine all the way through the crown of the head. Let's remove the chin down just ever so slightly, just to lengthen the back of the neck. Let's all take a big inhale. And on this next exhale, let's let the body soften. And let's bring our total awareness to nothing but the breath. Let's feel the breath, the air, the life force, enter into the nostrils. Feel that sensation. And slowly let go of that breath. The thoughts will try to bombard you. The stream of thought is ever moving. But as we focus on our breath gently, let's notice these thoughts as they come to apparition, and let's just let them soften, just let them glide by. We have a choice in our thought process. We learn this through meditation, of either allowing the thoughts to glide by or become attached to the thoughts and go with them. So in meditation, our purpose is just let those thoughts go, to be followed by yet another, and just let it go. Keeping our focus, our attention on the sensation of the breath entering the nostril, the rise and the fall of the chest. With practice, we learn that we can begin to live from a place of the centering, that quiet, soft, joyful place within our souls, within our being. But first we have to find it, and then we have to cultivate it, to experience it. I'd like to invite you to stay in Shavasana or in meditation for as long as it feels wonderful to you. If you would like to end the class now, let's bring our hands together to heart center as we humbly bow our head in gratitude for everything, all the gifts that we experience daily. Our physical postures are important. Our meditation is very important. The observation of the mind-body connection, so very important. But just as important is the practice of gratitude. So bring our thumbs to the area between the eyebrows. This area is the area of the third eye, the area of wisdom. We bow to each other in closing, and namaste.